Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the MegaSymposium 2021. My name is Neil First. I want to thank Arafath for inviting me to participate in the symposium, and yeah, it's a great opportunity to connect. It's a great opportunity for me to connect to the world. If the past 5 years, I'll say, for me, has taught me anything, it's that I don't know a whole lot about a whole lot. Okay. Um, and that's not to say that I'm stupid, but we don't know what we don't know. Would you agree with that? When you don't know what you don't know, and then you start to learn what you don't know, you're like, wow, I don't know a lot. Okay. So it's a real opportunity to connect um, cultures and different ideas and uh, different emotions and ways of being. And I'm really honored to be in the position to be able to do this. Um, so, like I said, my name is Neil First. I am the author of, now cover your ears, okay, The Bullshit Machine, Transcending the Delusion of Who We Think We Are, okay. This is it's available on Amazon. But I want to tell you something about this. When I wrote this, everything in this was true to me, okay. And there's even some of the stuff in here, my truth has evolved since then, okay. And it's not a whole lot, but there's some stuff that I realize that I've grown through, okay. And I think when we give ourselves the opportunity to grow, we show our best selves, okay. Because that's being open, that's being honest. um One of the things that helps keep our truth is understanding that our opinions are going to change, that we can be wrong, okay. That stuff does happen to us, uh and when we do that, when we see through our own BS, right, that's why I call it the bullshit machine. When we see through that, that's a real, true, honest, spiritual, humble growth that we all grow into. Okay. And that's how I think humans evolve. I don't they're the whole monkey thing into humans, the fish into monkeys, into humans, that Darwinian thing. I don't think that's I think we're created by a creator. Well, I know that. um so yeah, our evolution is more of consciousness. So um this this topic here that I'm going to present to you guys today is awakening to a world hidden. um and it's not always the most popular topic, okay, because what happens is, when you're awakening to a world hidden, you are asking questions. Okay, you're getting out of your comfort zone, you're getting out of your box, you're asking questions that people say you can't question that. Okay. um a little background for me before I begin. A little background for me. I am, let's see, I grew, how do I want to begin my story here? My background is in addiction and anxiety. My coaching experience is through addiction, and I grew up in an addicted home, an addicted family. I think we're all addicted, and I'll get to that, addicted in some way or another. But I grew up in an abusive environment, and I kind of lived in a certain little addicted victimhood environment for a lot of my life. So some of the addictions that I overcame was alcoholism. Alcoholism, I was at my worst. I was drinking, I don't know if you know what those little airplane bottles are, right? I was drinking 25 to 30 of those per day of vodka. And that says a lot about how much I didn't want to feel any of the pain that was fueling all of that. Okay. Because there's a lot of pain that has to fuel that. I was addicted to pharmaceuticals. Overcame that. I was, let's see, I was probably 75, probably 50 pounds overweight. I ended up losing 75 pounds. So I was addicted to a certain lifestyle that made me heavy and bloated and slow. Okay. And that's what my book addresses. My book addresses addiction and anxiety, because addiction is, I'll explain my definition of addiction, the perspective of it. Greetings. My perspective of addiction. Now there's hundreds and thousands of perspectives of what addiction can be, or we're all different, right? So we all have our certain perspective on something. And my perspective on addiction just comes from my experience. So if something doesn't feel, if it doesn't feel like right to you, if it's like, well, that I don't agree with that, just let that bounce off. Okay. Just because I'm saying it doesn't mean that it's right. And also remember this too, like, just because this is true in my world, just because I don't believe it doesn't mean that it's true, or it doesn't mean that it's not true, right? Just because I don't believe something doesn't mean that it's not true, right? So, where was I in this? So my perspective of addiction is basically something you repeat, like you keep repeating because you cannot control it, right? And like my addiction to alcohol, the addiction that I had to alcohol was, I would get a cue, right? I would get a bodily cue that there was a sensation in my body, right? And it would create a certain type of thought, like a certain type of rabbit hole. And I did not want to feel that feeling in my body, nor did I want to think those thoughts in my head. So my addiction would say, hey, you know what? I don't want to feel what's real right now, so let me go drink. Okay. I was also addicted to cigarettes. It's the same thing. It's like, as soon as I didn't want to feel the way I was feeling anymore, I would go do the cigarette, or I would go do the alcohol thing, right? So the addiction is the avoidance of feeling reality. Okay. Like I said, that's my perspective on it. That's my inner feeling on that. That's what that's just one perspective. All right. So give me 1 second. All right. Now is okay. Let me just check some notes here. Okay. So my way of dealing with that. So how do I deal with addiction? Okay. One of the ways, somebody's got their microphone on. One of the ways that I teach to deal with addiction is meditation. Meditation, a lot of people fear meditation because they. Hang on 1 second. I got a friend here. Hang on, baby. Wait. Okay. So one of the reasons people, dogs love me, guys. One of the reasons people fear meditation is because they have to sit alone with the feelings in their body and the thoughts in their head, right? So I can't, like, when I first started meditating, I couldn't sit for like 5 minutes, right? I couldn't sit alone with my eyes closed for 5 minutes because I didn't want to deal with the thoughts in my head or the feelings in my body. Okay, obviously they intertwine. So if I didn't want to do that, my solution to that was the addiction. Sitting through the feeling that I didn't want to feel had to be the solution, right? If you're addicted to something and you're like, well, I have to do this thing, otherwise I'm going to feel that feeling. Eventually it has to come down to just a logical thing. Well, what if I just sit through the feeling? What if I just, and I don't know if you guys know who JP Sears is, but you can find him on YouTube. But he has a triple F meditation. It's what I call the meditation sit and feel. But the triple F meditation is feel your effing feelings. Okay, so the way I teach people, or the way I describe it to the people that ask, okay, the way I teach it is, when you be honest with yourself, as soon as you feel that feeling, to avoid that, as soon as you feel that feeling, to go to your addiction, to avoid feeling the feeling, stop yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Say, I need a cigarette, or I need the addiction, or I need to masturbate, or I need to go have sex with somebody, or I need to go yell at somebody, right? Be honest with yourself. Sit there. Take a deep breath. Take many deep breaths. And feel that feeling. Feel the feeling. Well, I don't want to feel the feeling. I know you don't. I want to go play on my phone. I want to go watch television. I want to go watch the news. I want to go do the thing. I want to go drinking. I want to go gambling. I want to go watch porno. Stop yourself. Take a deep breath. And feel the feeling. This can go for any fear, phobia, addiction, anything. Is it uncomfortable? Yes. How do I deal with the discomfort of it? I invite it. I offer it little to no resistance. It's uncomfortable, sure. Right? If you've overcome any fear, let's just say public speaking, if anybody's overcome public speaking, what'd you do? You just invited the fear. You just became okay with it. If I'm wrong, prove it. Right? You just became okay with the fear. Like if you ever quit something, if you ever quit smoking cigarettes, you just became okay with feeling that feeling, with not having to use the addiction anymore. Right? So if you're doing that, then you get a real honesty, a real connection, a real, like, a deepness to yourself. You start learning who you are. My book is the second part of my book is Transcending the Delusion of Who You Are. The question is, who am I without the addiction, right? Without needing to do the thing, right? This can go for any part of your personality. One of the things that I did, I stopped listening to the music, like all music, just to see who I was without the music. Everything that you watch or listen to or anything is going to alter your mood, right? So you listen to your music, you watch your television shows, you do your thing. It's going to alter your mood. So who am I without having to listen to the music? Especially like in the car. And I realized that music was trying to keep me I was trying to keep myself in a certain mood, right? Because I didn't want to hear my own thoughts, or, I didn't want to feel the thing, or, it's just a distraction from who I really am. So who am I without the addictions? Who am I without all the stuff in my life? It doesn't mean I'm not demonizing any of the stuff. Please get that. It's like, none of the stuff is bad, but if we're doing it unconsciously, and we're doing it like to I need this. If you can't live without something, I'll say this in a real simple way. If you can't live without something, that thing for 7 days, 1 week, right? Monday through Sunday, that thing owns you, right? That thing is like your God. Like, that's your addiction. If you can't live without your phone for 7 days, and it's okay to admit this. Like, I haven't lived without my phone for 7 days in quite a while, right? I don't know what it would be like right now. That's how you know if you have an addiction, or that's a gauge. I don't want to say that's how you know, because there's thousands of different ways. Okay. Just understand that, when I say something, it's just from my perspective. So that's how you can understand. I don't say that's how you can understand and be honest with yourself, right? It's all up to you. It's all up to you in your own body, okay, and your own thoughts, okay. So meditation, if meditation is real easy, it's sit and feel alone, by yourself, eyes closed, no sound, not like sounds, are like just being okay with all of everything around you. And what this does, is this will take away the anxiety that causes the addiction, right? So what is the anxiety? The anxiety is the feeling in your body that causes the thoughts in your head that makes you want to get the addiction. Make sense? So this will help you understand who you are and get through the anxiety that is needed to feed the addiction. We're going to get into what feeds the anxiety, right? The world hidden. So when you sit through this, when you sit with yourself, you're taking accountability for your own emotions, your own feelings in your body, your own thoughts in your head, right? Because you have a truth here. Here's a truth. Here's a how to awaken to a world hidden. The truth is that all of that stuff that you're feeling and thinking is in your own head, and nobody's creating it but you. You're going to learn that in meditation, because I guarantee some egos just went bullshit. No, that's creating it. That person that won't put on the mask is creating that. That person that won't get the vaccine is creating it. That person that believes that we didn't land on the moon created it. No, nobody created your stuff but you. And the way to learn this, the way to know this in your own heart, you already know this in your own heart, in your own truth. But the way to learn it in yourself, in your person, like, this is not me. This is not like, this is my person. This is my avatar. Right? This is the created thing by the creator. I'm in this. Right? So to get to know your person, sit with it. Sit with all the television you've watched. Sit with all the schooling that you've had, all the YouTube videos, all the, family fights, all the, all of your nonsense. Right? And if you're somebody who likes to give your nonsense to other people, you're like, and what I mean by that is, like, oh, do you need to see the manager all the time? Are you complaining all the time? Are you just giving your nonsense to other people? Your heaviness? Well, sit with it, because it's yours. You're the creator of it. And the way to understand that and to learn it is to sit there and watch the show that's going on in your own head. You're not, like, nobody's bad. Nobody's it's just, we get to a point where we get caught up, right? We get caught up in all of the stuff that we're told. Right? And how do we get caught up in all of the stuff that we're told? How many people are in here? Okay. Right. It is our perception. So where does your perception come from? Where does your perception come from? Well, in childhood, what TV shows did you watch? That's yes. Yes, okay. So we'll get to that first basic. Your perception is going to come from both of your parents' perception, first and foremost, right? You're learning from your mom in the womb. You're half mom and dad in the womb, right? What your mom eats, what, her environment, her lot, like, this is all vibrationally and physically, she's feeding you, your perception is going to come from that, first and foremost. Okay. And then your family life. And along the way, there's some outside influence that need your perception to be more like their perception. Right? What are those outside influences? The television, the internet, your education, your job, so forth, right? Military, right? Whatever life path you choose. But the television, why does it need your perception to be their perception? It's selling stuff, right? Isn't the TV selling stuff? Why would somebody spend $5 million on a Super Bowl ad? Because they want to entertain you? No. $5 million for 30 seconds is a bargain for that. Because they're selling stuff. So they need your perception to become their perception. So great answer, whoever that was, my perception, because let's find out where else our perception comes from. Your education. Who needs you to follow, like, who needs you to have the perception of education, right? Who needs you to understand history the way you understand it? Who needs you to understand authority the way you understand it? When you asked questions, let's just say about history or science, right? That was out of the supposed knowledge or the supposed book. When you went off the path, and this was true for me, and I understand if it's not true for you, but if I asked questions, I was told to not ask questions because I was wrong and the book was right. The books have changed drastically since I was a kid. You understand? Like, the books have changed drastically. There's like Nikola Tesla. We didn't, when I was a child, I didn't know who Nikola Tesla was. Nobody did. Maybe he never existed. I don't know. But right now, Nikola Tesla is a very big part of our life, right? So when we ask a question and somebody says, no, you can't question that, where does our perception come from? Well, it's kind of actually forced down this narrow path of what is and what isn't. Right? So why would they need you to think? Why would they need you to perceive? Why would anybody need you to perceive life or anything the way they need you to perceive it? Right? Who needs you to go along with the crowd? Is the crowd right or wrong? I'm going to give an example here. If you has anybody, and you can answer me, you could turn on your microphone and answer me, has anybody tried to prove that we're on a spinning globe? Has anybody tried to prove that we're on that you are living on a ball that is spinning in space at 1,000 miles per hour and orbiting the sun at 66,000 miles per hour, while the sun is orbiting the Milky Way galaxy at 400,000 miles per hour, and the Milky Way galaxy is moving through the universe at 6 million miles per hour? Have you ever verified any one of those things? Have you ever asked that question? Have you ever tried to prove any of the things that you have been told? Have you ever Googled, has the virus that causes COVID been shown, been isolated or shown to exist? Have you ever asked that question? Do you know what answer you would find? No, it has not. Right. We just follow. Awakening to a world hidden involves asking questions. Even if your questions get mocked. Now, this isn't I started reading the Bible as a book this past year. Jesus was a troublemaker in the Bible, right? They saw him as a troublemaker, so much so that they nailed him to a cross in dramatic fashion. Crown of thorns, whatever. Crazy, right? Because he asked questions. He told people to ask questions. All of the narrative all of the narrative that makes you feel, that gives you a perspective, makes you feel a certain way and gives you a perspective. There's a couple questions that we have to ask. Who needs me to feel this way? And why do they need me to feel this way? So let's just say you're watching CNN or MSNBC or Fox News or whatever, and you feel fear in your body. Who needs me to feel this way? Why do they need me so afraid? And the stories that you see, who is verifying any of it? Like in your own personal life, the controllers that control the media, who is verifying? Like, are you verifying or are you just believing it? Or are you just believing what you're told because it's just the television? Who's controlling your perspective at this moment in time? What questions are we actually asking? Like, what evidence are you asking for in your life as to why you have to do things or why somebody has a certain authority over you? I just learned that in the US, right, we have towns, municipalities, and stuff like that. They are corporations. The police here work for corporations. It's like security guards for Walmart. That's what basically the police are, just with guns, which makes them dangerous. So whose authority do they have to, let's just say, pull somebody over? There is no authority. The township is a corporation. They actually have no authority to do any of that. And this is something I'm just learning recently. So I can't speak to any authority on it, but it's fascinating. It's fascinating how our perspective is shaped to follow certain rules of authority. Now, who needs control over me and why do they need control over me? Who am I? Is eventually the question that you're going to get to. Am I a citizen? Am I a person? Am I an individual? Am I a taxpayer? Am I like, or am I God's child here for God's purpose? And I'm not asking questions, so I'm being led around with what somebody wants me to believe. I don't know what the shape of the earth is. Okay. I'm not saying it's flat. I'm not saying it's round, but if I do any type of experiment, right? Every experiment that I've ever done shows no spinning ball. Like that's theory. There's no way to prove it. And when I tried to prove the spinning ball, I can't. Even the pictures are fake that NASA provides. They're fake. They say that they're fake. They're images. They're not captures. They're not actual pictures. So when I go and I try and prove something and I can't, then I start asking more questions. What else in my narrative is there no proof for? Whose law am I following? Who am I following? Like, why would anybody need to have control over me? Right? And there's a lot of answers out there. There's a lot of answers. I'm not here to tell you any answers, because it's your world hidden. Right? When you start asking questions, I started asking questions about my own personality because I was an alcoholic, because I was addicted to cigarettes, because I was addicted to gambling, because I was addicted to porn. I just want to say something. Porno weakens men. Stop watching porn. It weakens men. So to just let you know, like, you have to stop watching it. If you're not addicted to it, that's great, but it weakens men. So I had to question my own personality. Why do I believe all of the stuff that I believe? For me to understand why anybody would want me to believe the things that I believed. And I know that it sounds weird to question your own personality, but that's where did your perspective come from? Right? What is that box that's showing all the images? What's it filled with? Where does the line of entertainment cross with truth and fact? Now, mind you, I told you I don't have answers. I'm a question asker. Right? The people who give answers, are they giving evidence for their answers? What is true in your life? What is true in your perspective? Where did you get your perspective from? Why am I addicted to the things that I'm addicted to? And be like for me, one of the things is I was addicted. I don't want to say, addicted to the music that I listened to. And one of the reasons I think this was a big deal for me is because I listened to the same 30 songs every day. It was the same. That was my short list of Spotify. And I'm like, okay, who am I without this? I obviously need to feel this way for some reason. When you start asking questions about who you are, you start asking the right questions about who needs you to be who you are. Law, law is land, air, water. Law, who would control that? That's God. Who needs you to be who you are? And you don't have to believe in God or anything like that, but a source. Who's beating your heart? Who's filling your lungs with air? Where are you getting that from, right? Where is the source of that? It's not always easy. It's very complicated and difficult to. Let me see. I missed that one. It's not always easy to point the finger at the mirror. It's not. But when you understand that all of those thoughts you're thinking throughout the day, whether you're aware of them or not, are creating your personal reality. So if you're not aware of them, wouldn't you want to be aware of them if they're creating your personal reality? But what would that involve? That would involve pointing the main finger at the mirror. Wouldn't it? Oh shit, I'm creating my own reality. Uh-oh, I better hide. That's why I wore this, Philippe. Um, it's not always easy to do that. For me, what it took, right, was being an extremely addicted alcoholic, right? I got woken up with seizures, uh, DTs, I don't know, delirium tremens. Look that up, Google that. That's basically entering a dream state while you're awake. It's a nightmare. Well, yeah, it's a nightmare while you're awake. That's how far. Um, so what was I just saying? So I got into that thing where I'm like, oh man, I started thinking back on it, and then I forgot. I lost my train of thought. Um, it happens often enough, but oh yeah, but I had to eventually realize that I was doing all of the things that I was doing to myself, right? And even the smallest habits. One of the doctors that I followed was Dr. Joe Dispenza. Um, great wealth of knowledge. Great wealth of knowledge. He wrote a book, Reconditioning. Shoot, he talks about this all the time. He talks about how to look in the mirror, how to take accountability, how to be responsible for who you are. Very, very heavy on meditation, but he teaches what's true. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, because you're creating your own thing. So it's not always easy to do that. But if we're here to do anything, if we're here to do anything on this planet, while we're here in this experience, what are we making important in our lives? Are we making our lives important? Are we making our connection? The more I connect to me and the more I connect to source, the more I connect to God, the more I can connect to other people. The better person I become. And I'm not saying, like, it's not like a brag, like, oh, I'm such a good person. That not like a churchy brag, like, oh, I donated $5. No, no, the better person I actually become. I'm just grateful to be who I am, where I'm at, and people that I'm, because I'm grateful for the right now. Like right now, I'm grateful for all of you. Even though I see a couple people left, all right, that's cool. Thanks for coming. But I want to be where I'm at. And that's because I take the time to ask questions and then deal with the hard truths if I don't like the answer. Right? The truths are hard. The truth is hard to see. It is hard to see in the mirror what's looking back at you. And you're like, man, I don't want to feel this feeling. I don't want to feel this feeling. Just do it. And then you really learn, you get past the thing that doesn't want to see the truth anymore. And when you're living in your highest truth, and it's our evolution in consciousness. When you're constantly striving for your highest truth, to live in your highest truth, to live in your highest level of consciousness, to live in your highest vibration, ask the most questions in your life that benefit you. Right? What questions do I ask? Sit in meditation. They're going to come up. But when you're striving to live your highest source, the highest connection to you and source, to you and God, if we're each doing that individually, we don't have the problems that we have in society today. Right now we have society that's following rules and following fact or fiction. We don't know what it is anymore. We don't know the difference. The lines are blurred. That thing that we're getting our information from that shapes our perspective is immoral. Television has no morality, has no reason to be moral. Yet it's shaping billions of people's perspectives. So next time you want to watch, and this is, you don't have to do this, but like, if you think 2 hours of Netflix is a good idea, try sitting with 2 hours of your own thought, of uh, your own feelings and emotions, rather than letting Netflix make them for you. Right? Every time you turn on that television, every time you turn on that input, be vigilant in the understanding, the inner standing, that you're about to learn something, whether you like it or not. Why do they spend millions of dollars on commercials? So you get it, so you learn something, whether you like it or not. Why do they spend millions of dollars on sitcoms and hundreds of millions of dollars on movies? So you learn something, whether you like it or not. Is it about money too? Of course, yeah. There's many avenues, right? But who needs me to learn something? Why do I need to learn their thing? Who would need to spend all that money for me to learn their perspective and call it entertainment? If anybody's seen The Matrix, right? There's a well-known doctor named Bruce Lipton. Dr. Bruce Lipton. Google him too. Fantastic information from him as well. He calls The Matrix a documentary. There's truth in what you're about to see, what you're about to learn. Like every time you turn something on, every time you turn on the television, you're about to learn something. You're learning a truth about how your world works. But it's shown as entertainment, so your guard's down. Like when you're watching Cops. Oh, you're learning who the authority is, aren't you? If you've never seen the show, just Google Cops television show. That's not entertainment. Watch how much fear shows up in your body after 5 minutes. And you'll understand. You'll get a real good perspective on what you're learning. I did a video recently on rhetoric. A friend of mine, I sent him a text. We hadn't spoken in 2 years. Okay. So I sent him a text. I said, how's Cali? Right? How's Cali? California. He moved to California right before the event, we'll call it. And California became the state with the most strict terms. So he proceeds to text me back with something like, you know, when you quit smoking, I had high expectations of you, and now I can't. It's you're living a meaningless, pathetic life. And I text him back. I said, well, what? I said, how many vaccines did you have this morning? Like, are you crazy? Like, what is wrong with you? And then he's, you know, sent me.
Neil, I think we lost you, Neil. Neil, are you there? We lost you. Arafat, can you contact him over the phone?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am doing.
I guess it's time for us to absorb all the information. He's coming in. He's coming in.
Okay. All right. Let's move this thing. Oops. Hang on. Oop, there it is. Fantastic. Okay, can you hear me? No, I'm in safe driving mode. Okay, can you hear me now?
All good, Neil.
Okay, cool. All right. I still remember where I'm at. Rhetoric. Okay. So what he sent was rhetoric. Rhetoric is when somebody responds to you and it's immediately for their response is to create an emotional response in you, right? You even to the point where you have to defend yourself, right? So I asked my friend, how's Callie? He says, your life is pathetic and meaningless. He wanted to create an emotional response in me so he can control the dialect of the text. Now, we haven't spoken in 2 years. What is my friend sitting around thinking about? He's sitting around thinking about how pathetic and meaningless his life is. And then he tried to pour it on me. Do you understand? People who don't want to feel their stuff, this is another addiction too, guys. This is another addiction, is creating rhetoric and putting it on your friends and family. Okay. He didn't want to feel his feelings, so he put it on me. And that's okay. When you are aware of this, when you understand the bullshit machine, then you don't react with emotion, right? So if the TV is creating an emotion in you, right? Why do they need you to feel that emotion? Let's just say, I'll ask you a question. Your worst decisions, A, B, or C, your worst decisions have been made out of fear without knowledge. That'd be choice A, fear without knowledge. B, your worst decisions have been made with in a relaxed, happy state. Or C, your worst decisions have been made with advice from a good friend. The answer is A. Your worst decisions have been made with fear and very little knowledge. Okay, your emotional state is fear, and you have very little knowledge of the matter, of the subject. Okay, so what is the news's job? The news's job is to put you in fear automatically. The world's gonna end, and then they give you very little knowledge about it, right? Because of this, right? And let's just say there's hundreds or thousands of people involved, and the news says, be scared because of this. I'm in fear with very little knowledge. I'm going to make the worst decision I can. If I'm constantly getting that emotion, forget about what your belief is, that chemical makeup, fear without knowledge, fear with a tiny bit of knowledge is going to automatically make you make the worst decisions you possibly can. That chemical, that fear is meant to get you out of a situation like, well, I don't know, Joe Dispenza puts it like being chased by a tiger, you know? Way back when we were being chased by tigers, that fear was to get you like, you're not supposed to make decisions except for survive. How do I survive? How do I survive? So again, every time who needs you to think like this? Who needs you to have these emotions? Who needs you to have this perspective, right? Who needs to control your thought? Who needs to put these thoughts in your head? Right. So every time and this is true for movies too. Somebody's got their mic on, which is cool if you're going to ask a question. Even movies. I know I just pointed out one doctor calling one movie a documentary, and I know that's, but there's truth in movies, right? You look at some of the most successful movies, some of the what people actually want to see. There's truth in all of it. So if you understand that you're going to learn something every time you turn on the television or every time you watch a movie, and you're aware of the feelings in your body, creating the thoughts in your head, you're going to be vigilant about what you're inputting, and how you're creating your reality. Hi, Dora. You're going to start asking questions. Right? But the questions always start with you. Mm-hmm. I can't see the chat because I'm on my phone. But let me see, what time is it? Okay, I can talk forever, but what I want to I'm going to hit on one more thing real quick because I want to ask I want to see if anybody has any questions, but just ask them, I guess, or if you guys can read questions, like if there's any questions, then
Not so far, Neil.
What's that?
There's some discussions, healthy discussions going on.
Is there? Cool. One thing I want to hit on, and just before before I get into that, one of the most wonderful things about sitting and feeling your feelings, and even if it's shame, even if it's guilt, even if it's anger, there's something below it. Allow yourself to feel it, feel through it, right? Feel through the thing. Like anger, when I feel through it, I feel helpless, right? I'm angry because I can't do anything about the situation, right? And I don't know that when I'm angry unless I allow myself to feel through the anger, right? And then when I feel helpless, and then I realize, well, I don't have control over things, right? And that's okay. So then I let God's will be God's will. So if I'm angry about something and I allow myself to feel through the helplessness, I realize that God's will is God's will, right? And you don't have to think about if you're not, because that's not religion. I consider myself not religious. I consider myself a man of God first and foremost. Like that's a man of God, man of God. Like I can't be God because I'm a man of God, right? Before I would consider being a Christian or any other religion, right? I'm a man of God. So when you sit and feel the things that God is giving you, the emotions, the ups and downs, the thoughts that go along with it, it is my understanding that will help you get to your inner moral compass, like that feeling of knowing true, right, and wrong versus color of whatever you've learned. Your inner moral compass will guide you far better than the television ever can, or the internet, or whoever's telling you to do the things that they're telling you to do. I'm not saying stop doing anything. I'm saying ask the questions, who needs me to do this stuff and why? You know, is the guy who's creating the Jabba Dabba Ding Dong, is he getting awards for depopulation? Because if he is, maybe I don't want to take his Jabba Dabba Ding Dong, right? If you know what I'm talking about. Ask questions with your inner moral compass. You don't have to be Neil. You don't have to believe anything that I've told you. You don't have to understand anything the way I've explained it. This whole deal is to uncover the world hidden that's right in front of your eyes. And the way that you're going to see that is you're going to ask questions. And once you get tired of asking questions about why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? And you get real with yourself and say, why am I doing this? Why do I need to react to that? Who needs me to react to that? Why am I doing the things that I'm doing? Why am I doing this thing every day? Why am I listening to this every day? Why? Who the F am I? And you're going to get to that. And you're going to stop. And I'm not saying that you're blaming anybody or anything like that, but you're going to realize who you're blaming. And you're going to realize that maybe this is my responsibility, and maybe this is my responsibility, and maybe that thing isn't affecting me. Maybe because they're doing that doesn't mean I can't do my thing. Maybe because that's happening doesn't mean that this has to be happening. It's your inner moral guidance, your inner moral compass, your connection to God, source, self. It's your responsibility for you. It's my responsibility for me. and I wouldn't have it any other way. I couldn't. That's and that's God's way. Thank you, Evelyn. This is deep. So, Ben, any is there anything that that I should know? Guys, I can't, like I said, I can't see the chat. I'm kind of doing this on my phone. And
No questions yet, but a lot of discussions going on about perspectives.
yeah, I hope everybody finds this healthy and understand, or understand. I want to tell you something about understand. Like, if somebody says, "Do you understand?" That means they stand over you. Do not say you understand to any. That's how you get pulled into the public realm. Right? That's a whole nother 90 minutes. You understand. Do you understand? No, I don't understand, because that means I stand under you. Or you stand over me. No. Language. Question your language. Question the way you were taught to think and talk. I'm questioning my language, the English language. Like, this is a great, oh, thank you. Thank you for remembering this. This is a great example. Like, if you've ever watched, if you ever heard the term "on his person," like, let's just say you're watching a cop drama, right? Or a law drama. And the lawyer's like, "Yeah, judge, they found that bag of crack on his person," right? And like, when I was, before I understood this, like, on his person, that sounds stupid. That sounds dumb, right? On his person. Who is he? He's blah, 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 blah. That's the exact right way to say it. Because you are not your person. I am not Neil First. This is my avatar. I'm not Neil. I'm not this thing. What was I before this? What will I be after this? It's the same thing. I'm not this. This is just part of the experience of the greater thing. So the way we speak has been taught to us for us to identify in this more, which helps us lose our connection to source, to God, right? Because if I think I'm this body, I'm going to be fearful of leaving this body. No. I've been fearful of leaving this body for a very long time, right? And I'm not talking about no fear, Superman BS. I'm talking about a real understanding of I'm something more than this. Right? So I'm his person. This is my person. This isn't me. Neil First doesn't exist. Neil First is a character. Your name, your personality, right? Some of the dumb stuff you do, it's a character that you get to decide who that character is. But is the television deciding for you? Right? Oh, I see that new car. I gotta have that new car. You're not that. You're not your person. So that's I'm challenging my own language. All right, how do you say Tasnim? Can you unmute? Okay, cool.
Okay, thank you very much.
For me.
So as I said in the chat, it is very complicated, I think, and maybe because I have a fear about discovering what are the intentions of others to guide us to see that or that or that. But in fact, there is a long time when, and now after this session, I think that my biggest question or problem is really who I am and why I do all that. Why I have a lot of questions. What I am looking for, really.
Sure.
maybe I think it is very difficult to have the courage and to answer deeply to this question, because
You're getting it.
is very complicated. Who am I? How can I accept myself and others accept me? Who am I? Maybe it is also related to my wearing. I'm not terrorist. I'm just a Muslim, and
Okay.
I
So
have, yeah,
you're Muslim?
yeah,
Okay, and you follow the Quran?
yeah. I try.
Okay,
I
you
do
read
my
it.
best.
You read it?
Yeah, I do my best.
Okay, so that's great. Now what in the Quran, and I don't know the answer to this question. I don't. I've never read it. Or Quran. If I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. What does God say is the role of women
The role
in
of
that?
women in
Right.
that role.
So
The role.
so in the question of who am I?
Yeah,
Right? Is the question of who am I? This is
yeah,
and this is part of it. Okay. I know because the television has like in the US, the television has told women that freedom is being able to do sex work and porn and show their bodies on television and be whatever they want to be and this and that and be single and 40 and in a box and have cats. That sounds like prison, right? So in the Bible, right? In the Bible, what's the role of women, right? Family, support, love, support men. What in the Quran? What? And because I don't know, like, what is the role of women? And I'm not saying follow it word for word, but what is the perspective that you get? You know,
yeah,
is there
yeah.
is
I
there
follow, in fact, since my little age, since I was 12 or 13, I follow my heart. Okay, so
yeah,
when there was a dream when I was maybe 10 or 7 or 8, and I remember it always. And I think that there is one day, and when I feel uh, shining like this dream, I saw myself. Well, I saw myself like an angel, and I have many children, many people who follow me, and I
right?
I so
So this was
I
a dream
dropped
of
to the
yours when you were a
sky.
little girl. So this
Hmm?
was a dream of yours. This was a dream of yours,
Yeah, a real
right?
dream. I have 7 or 8. I never talked about it. Just I
That's
remember
awesome.
it now.
So here
Yeah,
and okay, so in in the first part of the Bible, right? In the Holy Bible, the God says his plan is to be fruitful and multiply.
yeah.
You saw yourself being fruitful.
I must say that I catch maybe 80-70% of the American or all the English languages, because it's my third language. But I try to
Okay,
improve. So
so
please repeat the sentence. Okay.
be fruitful and multiply. Be
Okay.
fruitful and multiply. So like do good and make more people, right? Bear your fruit, right? If what does a tree do? A tree
Yeah.
bears
I
fruit, right? An
understand.
apple tree bears
Yeah,
apples.
yeah,
You're not a tree, but you bear fruit, right? Men and women,
yeah.
we get together and we bear fruit. So be
Yeah.
fruitful and
It isn't.
multiply.
It isn't the question of fruitful, but it's they follow me. I'm not
Right. Okay. Okay.
their
Okay.
mother. They
Okay.
just
Okay.
follow me. Maybe like today, my students follow me when every
Okay. Yeah.
week when I have a session. It is a pleasure for me to motivate them to talk about composite materials. It's my specialty, but also to talking about leadership, what I learned last week, to talk about communications. So that it is the most objective. Okay, maybe I apply
Nice.
that, but I try to avoid problems. Okay, I try to know through to ignore maybe some realities. I haven't the sufficient courage to ask this question why they show that in Netflix or YouTube or in television, or politician, Tunisian politician, why they do that or that or that. I need peace. I try to have my, but maybe it isn't a good way to, or maybe it's my character, my trait character, my personality. And
Right.
and you talked about personality. There are 2 or 3 months I have the certificate of Nova Swiss. It's about personality types, DISC, etc. When I learned MBTI and DISC, etc., I feel more tolerant to others, and I try to understand others, why they speak like that or why they act like this. Okay, so
Right.
there are always a good intention for every act, human act, I think.
Right. So yeah,
Thank you.
that stuff is, yeah, no, that's cool. Thank you for sharing all that. That's awesome. So here, that personality type, that is just a generality. Okay. So that doesn't, that
Yes.
explains a type of something. It doesn't explain who you are. So one of the things
Yes.
that it's just beat it over your head, that you're going to be learning who you are for the rest of your life. You're like I would never do that. Like, you're going to keep learning that for the rest of your life. And the more you ask those questions, and the more that you're willing to feel those feelings that you don't want to feel, the more you're going to learn, and you're going to understand that it's not suffering, right? Like, if I feel sad,
Okay.
and I learned this along the way, is if I feel sad about something, I'm like, I feel sad and I love that, right? Because I don't want to fight the feeling, because what resists persists, right? So if I'm resisting it, it's going to keep trying to force through. So just accept it, surrender to it, and you'll find your thing, right? And that's what's important, your connection with yourself and God.
Yes.
So, but thank you for sharing.
Yes,
and
it's very important. Just a question, please. Just a question about the addiction. Addiction. There are many types of addiction. So when we talk about eating, it is an addiction. It is a high addiction. I have this bulimia.
You're not really
sometimes.
hungry.
And it isn't only when I am stressed or when I have a bad stress. Also, when I have a good stress, for example, when I prepare my conference, mainly when it is in English language, it demands more effort for me to well prepare the discussion, etc. I eat a lot. I don't know. It is uncontrollable. Okay. So when I'm excited, I eat a lot, and I look after sugar, etc., etc.
Right. So
how can you explain this? And always, also, I know that meditation is a good solution. I agree with Philip, and I need his help.
So here, just try something. And I'm not saying that this is going to work or whatever, but like, one of the things that I realize about the body, okay, is when it gets an idea, when it thinks it's hungry, or, you're not, like, the first time after you eat, you're not really hungry. Okay. It's more of like it feels like it's starving because it needs some type of nurturing, and the sugar is a poor substitute for it. Okay. So I've started working with ice. Like, take ice packs.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So take ice packs. Okay. Can you hear?
You lost the connection. You lost the connection.
All right. Can the rest of you guys see me? Airfath
It's
waving
good,
me.
it's good, Neil.
Okay.
It's good.
Oh,
All right. So one of the things I like trying, like if you're
you lost your connection, Nate. Can you repeat, please, the
right,
answer?
that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm repeating it now. So now I forgot what I was gonna say. Okay, so yeah, so that feeling that makes you want to eat,
Yes.
that makes you're saying it's uncontrollable.
Yeah.
First of all, admit that that's a lie.
First of all,
Yeah, first things first, admit that that's a lie. Admit that it's not uncontrollable.
yeah.
Because who says it's uncontrollable? Ask yourself, say, hey, person, who says it's uncontrollable?
Me.
Who inside of you is making it uncontrollable?
Yeah.
So I'll tell
it
you,
is
I'll just give you something
unconsciously.
real easy. So while
Yeah.
you're sitting with it, one of the things I've been doing lately is I like ice packs. Like ice, we get very inflamed. Like if you get a headache, just try and use an ice pack. Like I have a cooler full of ice right next to me. I love
Yes.
sticking my hands in there, my
Yes.
face.
Yes.
Like I dip my head in there. Sit with that ice on your head. Like this is, maybe it's just a different distraction, but if you're cooling off inflammation, it's got to be better than having your body trying to metabolize sugar and nonsense, and then it's clogging your brain cells and it's clogging your like. Just realize it's not like, who says it's uncontrollable? Can you believe that came out of your mouth? I can't see you. Do you know what I'm saying? Can you believe that came out of your mouth? It's uncontrollable.
Yes.
I'm just saying there's an honesty. Be honest with the thing in your belly and say, you know what? I've been a little.
But it is like an energy. It is like an energy that it is dissipated. So I eat, and after,
Right.
like addiction to alcohol.
Then,
I think like the addiction
right.
to. I think
Yes.
it is like the addiction to alcohol.
Sure, it is.
Yes.
Addictions are very similar. Addiction and sugar
Yes.
is a big one. Eating is a big one,
Yeah.
because it's such a
Yeah.
comfort. It's such a satisfaction.
Yeah.
But there is something inside of you telling you that you need it. You just have to address that voice. Be like, oh, I need it. Like, no, you don't. You'll survive without it. Like, sit through one hunger spell and you'll see the bullshit. You'll see right through it. You'll be like, oh, it'll feel like torture. It will. It'll feel like torture, but it's like, it's just the thing in your body saying, I need this. Just love it. Love it like it's
Yeah.
a 5-year-old version of yourself. You know, like if you're if a 5-year-old came to you and said, hey, I'm lonely and I'm scared, you're like, all right, here's some food. That's what you're doing. So when it comes to say I'm lonely and scared, I now don't know that it's lonely and scared, but this is just an example. I'm lonely and scared. Don't give it food. Say, okay, you can feel that way in my body, right? You're gonna feel the way it feels, and cry if you need to cry, laugh if you need to laugh, fart if you need to fart. Do whatever you got to do, but just feel the emotion. Believe me, allow yourself to cry through it, and understand that your crying is your growth. It's the release of it. The tears don't recycle back into your body. It's the release of something.
Yes.
Right? The snot doesn't come back in
Yes.
your body. It's the release of something. So
Okay.
be prepared to do that. And it's God's there with you. Allah is there with you always. Always, always, always. You're never alone. Always. Your creator is there.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
So thank you so much. Tasneem, right?
Thank you.
Tasneem?
Thank you. Yes,
you.
thank
All
you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
It helps me. Thank
Neil, we have another question posed by Murnosh. Murnosh, would you like to unmute yourself and ask Neil this question? Or would you like to read, or would you like me to read it out?
You can read it out. Thank you.
Okay. Right. Neil, he just wants to get this straight. do you mean that addictive habits comes from not feeling and observing our feelings, especially fear? Just accept it and go through. If we deny, we jump to addictive habits to calm ourselves temporarily.
Say it one more time. I got it, sort of. So are you okay? So
Do you mean that addictive habits come from not feeling and observing our feelings,
what
especially
is it?
fear?
Addicted habits. Is that what you said? Addicted habits?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so addicted habits come from not feeling our feelings, right? And then the second part was
Just accept it and go through it. If we deny, we are jumping to addictive habits to calm ourselves temporarily.
yes. So now I'm not. It's so don't and try not to demonize a short-term solution, right? Just realize that if you're doing it to not feel and you can't live without it, that's an addiction. And then be honest with yourself. If you and this, I wouldn't say that this is true for like drugs or alcohol. But if you can live with something without something for like 7 days, you're probably not too addicted to it. Alcohol is a sneaky thing, because no matter what, alcohol is different. Like let's just say like nicotine, you have nicotine receptors, right? Marijuana, you have THC receptors, and that's not addictive. But alcohol just like numbs things. Like caffeine, you have caffeine receptors. Cocaine, you have like you have receptors for all that, but alcohol just numbs things. And this is my understanding. That doesn't mean that I'm right. Okay. If you hear something else differently from somebody else, that's cool. But yeah, the not wanting to feel the feeling, like once you don't even think about, like, you don't even think about drinking. Like I'm not even like you're not even contemplating it. You're just like, ugh. Or on the other spectrum, if you're drinking because you need a drink, you might want to sit with that one. You might want to stare in the mirror for a little bit. I was actually doing this last night. I was just looking in the mirror, and I was looking, and I'm just looking at myself. I'm like, I just wanted just a plain look. And then there was a part of me that wanted to make a face, wanted to go, like something still. I'm like, no, just stop. So just kind of getting to learn, like different little parts of your own personality. Like, do I feel uncomfortable with the face making? Is it, what is the thing that's making me do the thing, right? What is the thing that's a habit? Like, do I get to a certain, like, okay, this person's staring at me, like, and then I do something silly just to break the tension, right? Why does it feel tension? What do I feel tension about? How can I go through this? Habits are even that, even making a silly little face because you just want to lighten the mood. You know what I'm saying? Does the mood need to be lightened? What evidence do you have that it needs to be lightened? At little things. Okay. I know I might be farther down, like it might sound like wow, but you don't have to get into as deep as you want to go. So did that answer?
Yes, but may I ask you one more question, please?
Please. Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned that fear, we were designed and we were created, and the factor of fear was created in our system just as a survival technique at the tiger time or the old times. But if we are designed in a way that we have to fulfill our best or the most capacities we have, why do we have still the fear in the age of the modern century? That fear doesn't help us to go through solving our problems, and instead pushing us going to the field of anxiety and stress. is that the possible that we got the meaning of the fear wrong, or we don't know how to deal with fear? Or I know the meditation, when I'm in the phase of meditation, my fears cut off, but when I come out, get back to the normal life, it is still there. And I don't know how should be this observation to help me.
Right.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. And thank you. Fear is a good thing. Believe it or not, fear will save your life. It's the amount of fear that we're in. Okay. And where are you getting all of your fear? Is the world really crumbling, or is the television telling you that the world is really crumbling? Like, what is that's why it's an inner battle, no matter what. This whole thing, and I don't even say battle. It's an understanding, because it's not an understanding, but the amount of fear that's created every day is the input. Like, if you can make less of that, like if you can make less of that in your body, like, and you start understanding that somebody needs you to feel that way, then you won't operate out of that. Because right now the world seems to be operating out of fear, but you also have no evidence except for the television or the stories, right? These just words on a screen or words on a piece of paper that are creating our fear. It's not a real danger. You get it? It's not a real danger. It's words on a screen.
It's kind of illusion.
Correct. This
Okay.
it's called a mental construct in the same term, right? It's there's many terms for it, but like a mental construct means it's a mental construction. You can, like, the TV feeds you the information, and then you construct what it means to you based off of all the other fears, like the stuff you learned from your parents that you haven't gotten rid of, the stuff you learned from school and your sisters and brothers and friends and this and that. And then the TV helps you mentally construct this crazy world that's crumbling, where everybody needs to do this to go here and get this to go there and do this to fly. It's the fear. It's almost, you could think of it as your reaction to the outside world. It's not that the outside world is wrong. It's that like they convince you to comply to it, right? It's like they convince you to comply to it because you keep watching it every day, because you keep believing it. There's a certain thing that happened in 2001 that seemed real at the time. Okay. And the more you look into it, the more you realize that somebody created that fear on purpose. Right. And this is the 7-Eleven thing. Somebody created that fear on purpose. Somebody needed Americans afraid of people in the Middle East. Somebody needed the narrative that the Middle East caused terror in America. I don't believe a word of it. I don't believe a word of it now. That's a division thing. That's a division tactic. Money brought those things down, right? Tower 7 went down with nothing hitting it. Right? Look up Tower 7. If you don't know what I'm talking about, when you look up Tower 7, you'll understand what I'm talking about. I'm trying to keep it clean because we're on the MegaSymposium. Fear is created, like, that has nothing to do with anybody. But when you watch that story, a fear is created. That fear was orchestrated by money, not who the narrative says it is. And when you start asking questions, you will see that more and more and more and more. including the current narrative, the current event that's happening. And I know people in this and no people in that. I get it. I get it. But the more you dig for evidence, and I'm talking about evidence. Say it again. Well, the more you dig for evidence, the more you realize that that fear is a story. It's words on a page. It's words on a screen. It's something coming out of somebody's mouth that hasn't shown you evidence that it's true, fact, or otherwise.
I got my answer. You analyze it in a very understanding way. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I saw one more hand raised. I know we're over, but
Neil, we have Jocelyn. Maybe you can have the last one from Jocelyn.
sure. Hi, Jocelyn.
Hi, good evening from Philippines. Okay.
Hi.
Actually, this is just a personal question. If you don't
Okay.
want to answer, that's fine with me. Okay. Regarding your addiction, what causes and how did you cope with that
Believe?
addiction? Yeah, you. Yeah.
Right. So how did what caused my addiction?
Yeah.
Well, belief. Belief is the enemy of truth. Do you get that? Like belief,
Yeah.
like the things I believe, just because I believe it doesn't mean that it's true, right? So if I believe a whole bunch of things that aren't true and they add up to a whole lot of lies, then those lies are going to put me in a fearful state. And that fearful state is going to cause me to not want to feel the feelings in my body, which will cause me to choose an addiction such as alcoholism. So not wanting to feel the feelings in my body. That's what caused that, like that's and there's also influence. Like my parents were alcoholics. So what would my go-to be? My go-to would be cigarettes and alcohol, because that's what my parents did. Right. And so yeah, that's what caused that part of it, that influence. But when you finally forgive, when you finally, and I'm talking about like truly doing this, writing it out, talking to your mirror, recording it on your phone, right? To making a conversation with your phone, you start getting it out and forgiving and forgetting and crying and leaving it all out there and stopping carrying it around. Then you don't need your addictions anymore. You don't need that stuff to live anymore. And you realize that. And when you realize that, it's a beautiful day. And you realize that all of that pain and all of that stuff was a lesson. And it was the greatest lesson that you could have ever learned, because it's teaching you who you are. And then you learn to avoid the stuff that's teaching you that you're something else. Try and prove that you're on a globe, and you'll start finding out a lot of questions to ask. Just try and prove that you're on a spinning ball. Just try it. So, but before does this help?
Yeah. But before you I mean came out with that realization, you went into what, rehabilitation?
Say it again.
I mean, before that realization of, meditating, about meditation beforehand, you went to a rehabilitation.
A rehabilitation?
I mean, a center. Yeah.
No.
You undergo. No.
Okay. No, I detoxed in the hospital. I didn't want it, I didn't trust those places, and I was right. Okay. From the evidence that I have, I didn't trust those places, and I was right.
Why?
I don't. What's that?
Why? Why you're not trusting them?
Their methods are counterproductive.
Okay.
Their methods actually, like in the mainstream rehabilitation community or centers or whatever, their methods are more of to keep people in the addiction. Like, and people, like, it's a culture that is, it's not a healthy culture.
Okay.
It's a thing where people see, my body, I believe, was fighting to be free. And I kept feeding it with an addiction, and the addiction was the prison, right? And what those people want to do is they want to shame you for your addiction and shame you, like they want to keep you in the prison by telling you what to do. And this is just something, this was my God's path. Like not my God, like it's God, but like my path. Now, if somebody uses rehabilitation, that's fine. I'm not, that's their path.
Okay.
You get it?
That's fine.
So,
yeah.
Right.
I
Okay,
think
cool.
I thank you very much for answering my question. I think we're running out of time. Thank you very much.
Yep. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Awesome. So thank you, everybody. That will do it for me. If anybody has any questions, you can reach me at neil@neilfirst.com. My website, you can go to neilfirst.com. You can check out my the book, The Bullshit Machine, Transcending the Delusion of Who We Think We Are, on Amazon. So thank you to Arafath, Venkat, Philippe, and everybody else who joined, Jocelyn and Tasneem, and yeah, and there's somebody else, but yeah, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to share my perspective with you, and just communicate with the rest of the world. So, and thank you, Arafat, for putting this together to help make that possible. I hope it didn't overstep too much, man. I know we had a thing about the muzzle thingy, but yeah. So thank you, sir, and thank you.
Neil.
Thank you, Neil. It was an awakening session. Thank you.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll be talking to you guys soon.